Hello and welcome. I'm Southern Belle and thank you for tuning in to this video. I have to tell y'all, I'm at such a crossroads as to whether I should make this video or not. I've debated and debated for days. I feel so incredibly blessed that I've gotten up to 500 subscribers. But I have asked a couple of people who have already achieved this milestone, and one said, no, don't celebrate 500, don't celebrate 1,000, don't celebrate 10,000. He said, I'm waiting until I hit 100,000 and I get that plaque. And it's like, oh, okay, that's valid, you're a big YouTuber, but is that right for me? So I asked somebody else who had gotten to the 500, and he said, oh, wait, I got to 500, then I dropped down a few numbers, and then I had to work to get back up to 500. Wait till you get to 500, till you stay there for a while, make good and sure before you announce it, because you don't want to be embarrassed. And that too was good advice. And then I started thinking about it, and you know, when you have a channel called Southern Belle, therefore you have a certain amount of obligation to follow all of the Southern hospitality, the Southern culture, the Southern etiquette. And so I started thinking about, is it really appropriate to celebrate 500? Would somebody maybe think that I was bragging? Because I never want to brag. I completely want to be humble. And I realized that achieving this milestone is not something that I could have ever done on my own. That this milestone happened because of y'all. Because each of you out there pushed the subscribe button. Well, I guess I shouldn't say each of y'all, because I realize that the number of views and the number of subscribers are different. So some people will subscribe but won't necessarily ever watch this video because they get busy, you have your own life, and you probably have your own family. And likewise, there are people who will watch this video just because they're curious to see what I will say, but decide I'm not worthy of a subscribe. And I get that too, because since I'm making so many different types of videos on my channel, it might be that, hey, you're interested in the Southern culture ones, but you're not interested in auction. Or you're interested in auction, but you don't have time to watch me work a puzzle. So I totally understand that you might only be interested in some of my content, and for you, that may not make it worthy of a subscribe. So I get that. But finally, I decided that I would ask you if I'm doing the right thing or not, because it's y'all's opinion who actually watch the video that I care about. And also, I wanted to use this opportunity not to brag, but to thank people who helped me. And also, a couple of people have asked, how did this even happen? Here you are, a Southern woman all alone. You know nothing about technology, and all of a sudden, you've got a YouTube, you've got an auction, you've got a Discord. I don't understand how this is happening. If there's anybody I thought would not be in this position, it's you. And you know what? You are absolutely right. You know, it is amazing the miracles, or even minor miracles, if you want to call it that, that God can work. Sometimes He dreams a bigger dream for us than we know to even dream for ourselves. So do let me tell you how this happened, because I know people are so surprised. So what happened is that when all of a sudden, many years ago, I completely changed my life. I left the house that I owned. I left the city where I was working. I left everybody I knew and the friends, locked up my doors, drove back to Louisiana to completely give up my life and become the primary caregiver for my parents. Back then, I was sitting next to their bedside day in and day out, every day after day after day. And when you're used to being social and going places and talking to people, it's very isolating. And I couldn't leave the house except to, you know, run a few errands or grocery shop, although I have to admit it was more of a dumpster diving type shopping. So the whole rest of the time I was here, and I found out about YouTube. And I was blessed that my parents had a home internet connection. So I subscribed to YouTube, and I have to tell you, I had the hardest time just subscribing. because back then they wanted everybody to have a Google account. So you needed a Google account to subscribe because Google was running YouTube. So it took me a long time to find a way around that, since I didn't have a Google account, still don't have a Google account, and can't get one because you have to have a cell phone to receive a verification code and then give it back to them. So I finally got some online help, finally figured out how I could change around the system in order to use a non-Gmail account, and woohoo! I joined. And long story short, I watched and watched and watched. I found channels that had live chat, and I found that there was friendships to be had. I started talking to people in the live chats. I talked to people in the comments, and I guess it was something about my personality that I made some friends. And in making some friends, I had channel owners that noticed, and they asked me to be a mod. So this is my first shout out. Shout out to Treasure Hustlers, Jackie and Sarah. They were the first channel that saw something in me, that thought I was worthwhile and worthy and valuable, and they were the first to give me a wrench. They made me a mod, and at the time, they were doing long, multi-hour dumpster dives, and it was super late at night, or at least in my time zone, it was super late at night. For them, it wasn't, because they're out in California. But needless to say, I struck up a friendship with them, and it went so far that they made me an honorary godmother. How sweet is that? And for somebody else, they might not have cared. But when you aren't married and you don't have kids of your own, and you have very, very little family, and you're seeing that family slip away from you as they age and as medical conditions get to them, the care involved, don't let me get all teary, is in being made an honorary godmother touched my heart. And still, even though Jackie and Sarah have gone on to Whatnot, I don't see them much on YouTube anymore. I don't even know that they know I have a channel. But nonetheless, the encouragement that they gave me by giving me that first wrench so many years ago changed my life. All of a sudden, I found YouTube so incredibly fun. And I have to admit that other channels gave me wrenches. Now wrenches come and go, just like friendships come and go, because sometimes you just don't have time for YouTube. You just don't have time for even the people on YouTube. And so I don't take any offense that channels come and go and wrenches come and go. But nonetheless, I have a fun time with it. And then I went on like that for absolutely years of just watching and modding. And I really thought that that's all my life on YouTube would be. And then on July 1st, a stranger, an absolute stranger, somebody I did not know, somebody I had not talked to, decided that he was going to create and design and gift to me a Discord. I didn't even know that somebody else could make you a Discord, could design a Discord in a sweet Southern theme, and could just gift it to you, especially somebody you didn't know. And sometimes some of the best gifts that we receive in life aren't gifts that we asked for, aren't gifts that we even knew existed necessarily, because I never saw myself as a person who had their own Discord. I never thought that I had the tech knowledge, and I still don't have the tech knowledge. I have administrators. But nonetheless, I'm there all the time. I post, I talk, I answer people. I've since joined lots of other Discords. So that's how this journey really began, is on July 1st. The Southern Belles Bubble Discord was invented. So shout out to, I don't know if he even has a YouTube channel, but on Discord, his name is Soundwave. And then after that, it was that I started modding for Angel in Pink Camo. Then she accelerated me to voice moderating. Woohoo! So it was kind of like co-hosting, in that I had none of the responsibility. I had none of the burdens. I had none of the problems. I had none of the stress. I just got to talk about all these pretty products that the sellers brought on and what I liked about them and how people could use them. I could just plumb sit in my bed with my feet up, surrounded by some snacks, and just enjoy, but in a verbal way, everything I was seeing. I got the luxury of talking about it. And I really thought that's all it would ever be. And what could be more fun than that? You got to participate, didn't have to buy anything, didn't have to plan anything. There was nothing at stake and no stress. And then my life changed when she said, Belle, do you want to sell some stuff? And I thought, oh, I do, but how in the world would I ever do this? I mean, you have to have all this technology that I don't have. So what did I do? I called one of my besties, Dawn. Dawn Southern Finds is a lovely woman. She is a wife, a mother, a grandmother. She is a reseller. She has her own channel. And Miss Dawn was so nice that she and took me to Walmart and said, this is the printer you need to buy because you're going to have to print out labels if you're going to sell things. This is a webcam to buy because if you're going to sell things, you're going to have some way to show people what you're selling. And then she came all the way to her house with her mommy, by the way, and her mommy's just darling. Hi, Miss Sandra. Oh. Anyway, so I have Dawn to thank for hooking up the computer, for hooking up the printer, realizing that I also needed to buy a printer cable, which, did y'all know printers don't come with printer cables? And hooking up my webcam. So the whole reason that I have an auction is because Angel said, hey, you can come auction on my channel. And Dawn hooked up all of the technology in order to make it happen. So thank you to Angel in Pink Camo. Thank you to Dawn's Southern Finds. And then the very last thing that happened was starting the YouTube channel. And for that, I need to thank my friend Todd. Todd, the psychotic diver, who is not psychotic at all. He is a sweet family man who is the adult father, who is the father of adult children. He might have grandchildren, I'm not sure. But he is the loving primary caregiver to his wife and himself. They both have medical issues, and yet, even so, Todd is on call, ready to provide tech support anytime. And so I figured out that if I had this webcam and I could show things on the streamline that Angel would send me, that there's got to be some way I can make videos. So Todd talked me through a secret button on the computer, which y'all probably knew existed, but I didn't. And then once you press the secret button, how there's this list of various options, and underneath calculator, which, did y'all know your computer had a calculator? I didn't know that. I'm always running to my real calculator, is camera. And so he talked me through how I could turn the camera, face it to something I like today it's this pretty fleur-de-lis vase that's holding a magnolia silk arrangement. And for those who don't know, the fleur-de-lis is the symbol of New Orleans, and the magnolia is the state flower of Louisiana, as well as several other southern states. So I filmed my first video, and then I messaged him on Discord. I'm like, well, Todd, what do I do now? And he said, well, it's very complicated, but I'm going to talk you through it. And so he taught me through the uploading process. I did not realize that once you get something to upload, which just finding it on your computer is super tough the first time, but that there are 5 long pages of questions and answers. And do you check this? Do you not check this? How do you fill in the title, the description, the tags, the comments, all of these questions? And bless his heart, even though it took hours, he painstakingly sat there, explained what each of the questions meant, what clicking this box or this box meant, which would be right for me, helping me make choices. And so I am forever grateful. I don't think that I could have necessarily known what they meant or made the right choices. So thank you to Todd, the psychotic diver. So even though some of y'all watching this have said, Belle, you've done this all wrong. You're supposed to make your YouTube channel. Then when you get a bunch of viewers, you put them all in a Discord. And then last but not least, you try to get yourself on an auction. So my apologies if I have done this the wrong way. But it has only been through the grace of God and the help of these great shout outs that when I had an opportunity, I tried to absolutely make the most of it. Whether you say that's turning lemons into lemonade, whether you say that's multitasking with the things at hand, whether you say it's taking a sow's ear and turning it into a silk purse, that is absolutely what this Southern Belle has tried to do. And so if you're wondering how I somehow got 500 subscribers, and hopefully we'll get up to 1,000 and then many, many, many thousands, well, that's how it happened. And so today, I'm going to release this on Wednesday. It will be the 7-week anniversary of being on YouTube. I actually reached the 500 on my 6-week anniversary. But here's the important question you need to answer in the chat. I want you to guess. How long do you think it will take me to get to 1,000 subs? Go ahead, put your guesses in. It's not going to hurt my feelings if it's a way, way, way far off. And if it's way closer than I foresaw, then it's not going to pressure me because I'm going to do my absolute best regardless. But I'm just curious how long y'all think it will be at this rate. And so finally, I want to once again thank everybody who is watching this video, who is subscribed, who has viewed the video. It's really a dream come true for me. So because after losing my family, even though y'all may say, oh, we're never going to meet you, we live far away, we're just cyber friends are better than nothing. And being cyber friends rather than literal next door neighbors, sometimes it gives me the grace of just seeing the best side of you. You don't have to, deal with, well, my lawn's a little too tall, because you're not aggravated by that because you don't see it. You don't have to see me on those days where I'm not wearing makeup. You don't have to see any of my flaws. And being on the internet, I don't have to see your flaws or shortcomings either. So that's one of the great assets to being cyber friends. But I'm going on and on and on, and I just wanted to share this with you. I hope you don't think I'm bragging. I hope that you don't think that this is bad etiquette to have this just short video to shout out and celebrate my 500 on YouTube. I'm so excited to get my community page. Although people have said, oh, slowly but surely everybody's going to get their community page. I've seen people with 400, people with 300, people with 100. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Well, it might not mean anything to people who've already had it or people who got it at a lesser price point. But just like getting that A in school when you've studied, even though the person next to you got that A just flipping through a book real quick, the hard work that I've put into it is its own reward. So without further ado, I say, laissez bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. Roll in your heart, roll in your mind, roll in your soul, roll in YouTube, roll with your cyber friends, and roll on and on and on.